There exists a type of person the world barely notices, the quiet warrior. You, the one who smiles so others feel reassured, yet when night falls, you wrestle with thoughts that gnaw at your heart. Among people you walk as though everything is fine, as though nothing could break you. But I know inside lies a battlefield where anxiety, self-doubt, and hidden pain wage their silent war. You've carried strength for so long that it has begun to turn against you. Your mind whispers cruel words, making you question your own worth. But hear this, you are not alone. Even the greatest men and women in history fought their own inner darkness. The time has come to relearn how to think, not to escape reality, but to rewire your mind as a true Stoic warrior. Let these 9 Stoic laws release you from the prison of negative thoughts and lead you back to clarity, freedom, and peace. If you are willing to face the darkness, the light will always find you. Number 1. Stop fighting with reality. You, the one holding it all together while your mind replays the same memory again and again. That shouldn't have happened. You stay awake, not because the event itself was unbearable, but because your thoughts refuse to release it. In silence, you argue with reality, as though resistance could somehow undo what already is. But deep down, you know you cannot. This is where much of our suffering is born. Not in the event itself, but in our refusal to accept it. Not the heartbreak, not the betrayal, not the failure, but the belief that these things should never have occurred. That resistance is the seed of negative thinking. It spreads quietly, wrapping itself around your peace, feeding on denial. Yet reality doesn't wait for your permission. It doesn't ask for approval. It simply unfolds. The Stoics saw this clearly. They never told us to enjoy pain or to fake that everything is fine. They offered a deeper truth. Don't wish for events to happen as you want them to, but wish them to happen as they do, and your life will flow well. Epictetus. At first glance it may seem like surrender, but look again. This isn't weakness, it is wisdom. Epictetus is inviting us not to go numb, but to become real, to align our minds with what is, instead of clinging to what we wish it were. Because when you stop demanding the past to be different, you free up all that energy to face the present with clarity. Picture this. 2 people trapped in the same storm. One stands in the rain, shouting, "This shouldn't be happening." The other quietly puts on a raincoat and begins to walk. Which one suffers more? The storm doesn't change for either of them, but the one who resists multiplies their pain. Life is no different. You can rage against it, or you can accept it and move forward with grace. This is the practice of amor fati, the love of fate, not a blind celebration of misfortune, but the radical act of saying, "This is mine. I didn't choose it, but I will use it." So when you fail an exam, when a relationship ends, when an opportunity slips away, you don't collapse under self-blame. You ask instead, "What is this here to teach me?" This shift doesn't happen instantly, but it's powerful. It's in that movement, from resistance to response, that transformation begins. Because peace doesn't come from controlling everything. Peace comes from choosing your next step, even when the ground beneath you has shifted. Stop fighting reality. It's a battle you'll never win, and you don't need to. All you need is the courage to accept what is, and then ask yourself, what will I do with this now? You don't need a flawless life to have peace. You only need the willingness to meet life as it is, with grace, with wisdom, and with the steady heart of a Stoic. Number 2, your environment shapes your inner dialogue. Your negative thoughts are not simply a reflection of who you are. They are mirrors of what surrounds you. The voices in your head didn't just appear one morning. They were planted, nurtured, and repeated by the people you allowed close to you, the content you consume daily, and the habits you've carried for years. No one is born drowning in self-doubt or anxiety. We absorb it by sitting too long in chaos. The mind isn't a sealed temple, it's a mirror, and what it reflects depends entirely on what you place before it. If you live in noise, your mind will echo it. Stay in drama too long, and your inner dialogue becomes a script of suspicion and fear. Surround yourself with cynics, and you'll begin to doubt the good in yourself and in others. Your environment is never neutral. It either heals or harms you. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "Associate with those likely to improve you, and welcome those you yourself can improve." This wasn't just advice on friendships. It was mental hygiene. Just as you wouldn't walk into a smoke-filled room and expect clear lungs, you can't remain in toxic spaces and expect your mind to stay pure. Yet often, we let our environment poison us in silence. The friend who constantly complains or gossips trains your brain to live in scarcity and judgment. The Instagram feed filled with perfectly filtered lives whispers to your insecurities. A cluttered room, a messy desk, constant background noise. They don't just stress you, they fragment your attention and bury your intuition under static. Here's the truth. You cannot silence negative thoughts if you feed them every day. You can't expect mental peace while swimming in emotional pollution. Your outer world shapes your inner one, whether you realize it or not. So pause and ask, who drains me? Who calms me? What content lifts me? What quietly tears me down? Does my space focus me or fragment me? This is where the Stoic way begins, not theory, but practice. The Stoics curated their lives like artists shaping a canvas, with intention, restraint, and care. Their habits were simple, their interactions meaningful, not because they lacked warmth, but because they knew one truth. What surrounds you enters you, and once it enters, it becomes the voice steering your choices. So here's your challenge. Try 7 days of reclaiming your mind. No gossip, no drama, no doom scrolling. Clean your room, clear your desk, light a candle, read something nourishing. Unfollow the influencers who thrive on insecurity. Spend time with someone who speaks about growth instead of complaints. At first, your mind will resist. It craves the chaos it's used to. But stay the course. Soon you'll pause and notice something powerful. Your mind has gone quiet. Not because the thoughts vanished, but because you stopped feeding the storm. And in that silence, you'll hear yourself again. Number 3. You are not your thoughts. Last night maybe you couldn't sleep. Your mind repeated the same tune. I'm not enough. I'll fail. I'm broken. You tossed and turned, trying to silence it, yet it grew louder. And maybe, for a moment, you believed it. But stop. What if I told you? You are not your thoughts. That single truth can shatter everything you thought you knew about yourself. Most of us grow up believing that if a thought arises, it must be true, it must be us. But it isn't. The Stoics, those quiet warriors of the mind, knew this long before modern psychology. They taught that the mind is not a mirror of truth, but a battleground, flooded with impressions, fears, and memories. None of them define you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is the key. Your thoughts are not reality. They're not facts. They're passing clouds drifting across the sky. Some help, some harm, some are nonsense. If you acted on every thought, you'd be a different person every 5 minutes. So what do you do when your mind throws painful stories at you? Write them down. Look at them like a judge in court. Ask, is this absolutely true?